Hello friends! Today we are going to be learning about the art of mosaics. So for this project you will need paper, colors, scissors, and glue. We're going to be doing a little bit of collaging, which as you know is Mrs. Florence's favorite. So I hope you enjoy. Welcome everybody! Today we are going to be talking about the art of mosaics. Here I have some examples of some mosaics, and we'll take a look at those in more detail in a second. The type of mosaics that we're going to be looking at come from the Middle East or Arabia or Saudi Arabia, which is right here. So we live way over here, and we are going to travel to way over here, kind of far away. But a very, very cool and ancient tradition, mosaics are made from tile, shell, stone, so many different glass. There are so many different materials that mosaics can be made from. And what artists do is they take these hard materials like the tile or glass and they arrange them to make these really intricate designs. Now, something as an art teacher, I have to point out, because this is one of the things that mosaic art teaches us, especially Arabian mosaics, is the artists were very intentional in having symmetry. So we talked about symmetry with our mandalas in my last video, but just to kind of recap, it is when it is the same on either side. That means you have a line of symmetry. And in this case, we have two lines of symmetry because it's on the same top to bottom as well. One thing that I really love, something that I often see in Arabian mosaics, is that they oftentimes have sort of circle patterns or circular patterns. There's a lot of religious purposes for this. A lot of, symbols that come from circles. So it is very much tied to their culture in a lot of ways. But I want us to experiment with circles today, which is why I'm bringing it up in the first place. And I will show you a little bit more of what I mean. So here's another example. I really like this one because the shapes are very jagged. Kind of looking compared to some of the other ones that we saw. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. I want you to look at the different shapes that these artists are using to build up these designs and realize that they're not like normal, like square, circle, rectangle, but they've got like all sorts of funky shapes in here. So today I want you to think about what kind of funky shapes you can use in your mosaic. Here's one more example. This one I thought was interesting because it had kind of this layering effect where this tile's almost like so thin, it almost looks like string being woven together. I just thought that was super creative. But look here, it has a circular type of pattern. Yeah, that's all. I have nothing else to say about that except yet again, more circles. Okay, friends, let's get started. For this project, you will need one piece of drawing paper. If you just have regular copy paper, fine. But if you have something thicker, that's even better because we're going to be gluing stuff on top of this paper. So we want to make sure it's sturdy. 2 pieces of copy paper. Thin is good, so copy paper works. You don't really need to waste nice drawing paper on those pieces of paper. Marker, glue, and scissors. Okay, to start off, we need to make our own mosaics. So we've got to make all those little tiles. And I'm not gonna have us make mosaics out of actual tile and stone and shell, but instead out of paper. Because, like I said, mosaics can be made out of all sorts of stuff. we're gonna create our own cool looking paper to make the mosaics from. So we first have to decorate paper, and then we're gonna cut the paper all up to make cool shapes, and that's how our mosaics are gonna look. So this part of it, the project is really up to you, how you wanna do this. You could decorate this page of paper just by literally coloring it in one color, and that's totally fine. You could also decorate it by just scribbling all over it, and that's totally fine. What I would recommend not doing is putting a lot of time and energy and making detailed, intricate designs and pictures and things you can recognize, because we're literally going to cut this all up into bits. So if you kind of want to get to the cutting part and you don't want to have to sit for a long period of time, you know, decorating, here's one technique I'm going to show you. I am sure many of you done this before. Take all your markers, put them in your hand like this, so that the, well, see, that's not going to work now. So that the tips are all kind of the same. And then just kind of go crazy drawing. Okay. So I had to abandon the hold all the markers at once technique for a second because I needed a little more accuracy with my scribbles. That's how meticulous I am with my scribbles. Very particular. Anyway, so one technique that you could do, go crazy with scribbles, hold all the markers in your hand. Or if you want to spend a little more time creating an interesting design that you're going to cut up, by all means, I do not want to stop you from that either. Again, when you decorate your paper, don't make it look like anything, because we're going to cut it up. So you're going to get too invested in a design and then it's going to get all ruined. So just make weird, this is doodle time, my friends. Just let this be doodle time. Okay, now I have my two decorated papers. I am ready to make them into mosaics. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stack them up. And now if you want to be super accurate in making like perfect straight squares, then I recommend using a ruler and actually like measuring out a straight line and then cutting on the line. I do not care about being that accurate, because as I go along, I'll be cutting shapes anyway. So I just kind of want to get my paper to be just smaller so that, you know, I'm not cutting these huge, gigantic pieces of paper. Plus, this is kind of just going to be like our base from where we're starting from. So I'm starting by cutting strips, as you can see. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. And you know what? Honestly, I think that's all I'm going to really need for now. So I'm going to save this paper for maybe a different project. Now I'm going to take my strips and stack them up. You want to make sure you don't have too thick of a stack, because unless you have like some real heavy duty scissors, because it can dull your scissors if you have like a super thick stack and then your scissors can't get through. But looks like my stack is good. All right. And again, if you want to be really accurate about it, you could actually measure out like an inch and follow the lines and everything, but I don't care about being super accurate. I'm just making little mosaics. Okay, so I've got my paper mosaic, and see how fun these are? I love it. I just love cutting these up and seeing all the different designs that come out of it. Okay, so I'm gonna put my stack up here so I have something to draw from. and I'm gonna get my thicker paper. Now, remember how much of a deal I was making about circles before? It's because I really want you to experiment with a certain design where what you do is you start from the center of your paper and you work your way out. And by doing that, you're gonna automatically create this kind of circular sort of shape. So if you have your scissors nearby, as you work, if you want to make your shapes, modify them a little bit, you can do that. Like, for example, excuse me. This is kind of a fun way to, manipulate this paper. So I could do something like that, but I'm going to start in the center. And then I'm gonna just start working with symmetry, meaning that if I do something on one side, I've got to do the same thing on the other side, right? So if I do this weird purple thing, I'm gonna do the weird purple thing on the other side. And then I'll do it from top to bottom as well. And when I have that 2 lines of symmetry, doing it same, again, it starts kind of creating a circular sort of pattern. So that's how I'm going to start it. And then this is what I really want you to do more than anything, is just let your imagination go. Just get started and then just kind of see where things take you. Experiment, cut up the paper, put them in different places first before gluing down, and just kind of get into a flow. That's one of the things I love about mosaic projects, is it really allows you to get into kind of a flow. Okay, I want to note that I have not glued anything down yet. I am just experimenting at this point. Well, actually, I'm done experimenting. I've decided that I like my design, and now I'm going to glue it down. A little tip, it gets a little bit sticky, so periodically wipe your fingers off get like a paper towel or something near you, because the gunk on the glue will start getting all the paper dirty if you don't keep your fingers clean. But the best way I think to go about doing it is just to get your glue stick like this, put your little paper, because we're dealing with a little bit of paper here, put your paper on top of the glue stick and then move it around the top the best you can, with trying not to touch the glue at all. And there we go. And here is my little mosaic. Just kind of a fun design. Couple things I wanted to mention. One, if you want to layer your mosaics or have them be closer together, that is totally allowed. I just spaced mine apart because I think that looks cool. But by all means, do one where they're layered all over the place. See how that turns out. That's another great way to sort of experiment. I also wanted to show you a mosaic that I did with just using construction paper. So I didn't decorate the paper first. I just had construction paper or colored paper already, and I cut those up just like I had demonstrated before, and then I created this design. So here's another way to look at it if you want to make a mosaic that just has solid colors rather than like all the crazy colors. That's another thing you could do as well, is either just color your whole paper in one color, or you can get construction paper. So another option for you. Yay! I hope you had fun creating your own mosaic designs. Please do not forget to post on my classroom so I can see what you're up to, and I can comment back to you. I just love seeing the work that you're making and your creative minds at work. So don't forget to post. I hope you enjoy and make more than one, please.
All right, have a great day, my friends.